psych themselves out of the real estate game or business or trying to set your goals simply because you're so worried about failing. And I'm going to tell you something. Failure is really part of the journey to become successful. It's like anybody that's ever been successful at anything has failed. That's just part of the process. But we as humans, and I've been there before too, to where I was like, man, if I get into this and I try it, then, and if I fail, then that makes me a failure. And that's not the case. It's just that the process that you chose or the methods that you tried just didn't work, but it doesn't mean you as a person is a failure. And I started to take that and implement it in my business and trying to and being successful in the things that I do. It's just if you make a mistake, you just bounce back. It's not the end of the world. That's the only way you can learn, especially when it comes to real estate or any business for that matter. You have to learn from your mistakes. So you know what doesn't work, and then you need to figure out what does. Or better yet, instead of trying to figure it out, follow people that already done it. And that's what I say. A lot of people don't move forward simply because they feel that negativity of failure. But again, I know for me, I used to feed off of that. Okay, if I fail, right, let me learn from it. I'll give you an example. When I got into real estate, I just didn't know what I didn't know. Um, I signed a lease contract with this bus driver, and everything was fine for the first maybe 3 months. It started to get to about the fourth month. She was dodging me on paying rent. Well, that became a problem because I have to make and receive rent from my tenants. Well, it came to the fourth month. I'm communicating with her or doing my best and chasing her down for my rent money. And then she finally told me that the reason why she was doing that because she was going through some stress and she had some problems. I said, "Well, what's your problem?" She says, "Well, I can't make the rent payment because my job is about to lay me off at the bus station." I said, "Well, I mean, you should have just told me that, right?" But when that moment happened and she told me that, I knew I needed to go right back to the drawing board and figure this out. So I didn't go back saying real estate doesn't work. I went back saying, okay, how can I readjust myself in this real estate game to make it work so I don't have tenants that are not going to pay me? And that's when I started to learn. I went back to my mentor and he says, thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. And he said, hey, look, you need to do the buy and hold strategy, which you're doing, and start to get Section 8 families in your property. Well, even back then in the early 2000s, when you hear about Section 8 like you do today, you think negativity. You think bad stuff. Oh, they're going to tear up your property. Oh, they're not good tenants and you're not going to get paid and they're just going to give you problems. No, that's not even the case. I started to get into real estate. I put the bad, I wouldn't say a bad type of tenant, but I ran against a problem, but it didn't make me a failure. I readjusted, learned something different, and it made me become successful, right? So now that I'm linked with the government, I get paid every single month. It's guaranteed. I've been dealing and partnering with the government since 2000, literally since 2000, and I haven't missed a payment. We just now coming out of a government shutdown, the longest one in US history. Today is November 10th, 2025, and I still got paid. The shutdown started on October 1st, 2025. Now today is November 10th, 2025. And again, as I stated, we're in the longest US history in a government shutdown, and I still got paid. That is the key of learning. That is okay if you fail, like I did, and I didn't look at it as a failure. I look at all my failures as learning. There's no way I would have learned this unless that happened to me prior to where I had a lady that was a bus driver. Now, every tenant that I get, I've just started to condition myself to say, you know what? I want to have tenants that are to partner with some type of agency. So Main thing is I deal with people that are on low income housing Section 8. I deal with either traveling nurses, so I'm dealing with the insurance companies, or excuse me, with the hospitals, or I'm dealing with the insurance companies. All these are partnered in some type of agency. So now I don't have to worry about somebody losing their job or the economy going down. It's a third party group that's in the middle of us. So that's how I'm able to make sure my money gets paid to me. And it took that one, if you want to say failure, I don't look at it as failure. It's just a learning experience. I was able to pivot and learn these other three other type of tenant types, and that's what made me successful. Main thing is I get paid every single month guaranteed, and that's the name of the game. So don't look at its failure as like, yeah, you're not doing good and it's bad. No, just look at your failures as a temporary setback to get back on track. And that is the key, because if I would have looked at myself as a failure, then I would have been down and out. I wouldn't have been able to make it, and I would have gave up on real estate. And if I gave up on real estate, I wouldn't be financially free, and I would be like most people, and I don't want to be average. And there's nothing wrong with it if that's what you want. But my point was I wanted to be able to take care of my family and spend more time with them, and I found it through real estate. Best thing that ever happened to me was me having that setback, or what most people call a failure. If I didn't have the failure, I wouldn't have learned something different. So don't look at your failures as a setback to where you can't get ahead. You're not a failure. You just did something different. Or don't look at it as a failure. Just look at it as a learning experience. That's the real key. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Um, Thank you for subbing for me. Thank you for joining me in this live. I'm not going to stay long, but I just like to come out here and give you some insights and some learning. But today I was talking about failure or failing. Don't let that stop you. That's part of the learning process. All successful people, anybody that you can look at, has always failed. That's human nature. That's just part of the process. That's part of life. Don't let it bring you down so bad that you think you're a failure, because you're not a failure. Let me give an example. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players that's ever lived, he has failed over and over and over again. He missed a lot of game shots, last second shots. He's made some too. Field goal percentage wasn't always that great. Bad calls on his part. Okay. Missed layups. He's made mistakes, missed free throws. Everybody has made mistakes, but because of that, that's what makes him really great and one of the best, because he took the time out to learn from them. All right. Hopefully, you learned from something from this live that I just did, guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed it, and I will see y'all in the next video.